But 34-10, the final is the Falcons get a touchdown in garbage time. They've scored 23 points since halftime of the Bills game. That's 10 quarters of football. So the last 3 losses, all by double digits. And since week 3, 27th in the league in point margin, minus 47. Nothing's going to change until they make adjustments. And I don't know if they're capable of making adjustments, specifically Zach Robinson. Nothing's going to change. Buffalo locked in man, loaded the box, dared Michael Penix at the time to beat them, and nothing has changed since.
Ooh, I'm so looking forward to Raheem Morris's Monday when, again, he's been given the test, and we'll find out what he does with the test today if he comes closer to the right answers. My feeling is he's going to lean towards, I'm angry, unacceptable, because I think it's the only thing left.
Does he punch the podium?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to go under, it's
and then
2.5.
talks real fast like that FedEx guy?
It doesn't matter if they win or
If you
lose.
know, you know.
Okay, Eunice, travel plans. I need to be in New York on Monday, LA on Tuesday, New York on Wednesday, LA on Thursday, New York on Friday. Got it? Got it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And in conclusion, Jim, Bill, Bob, Call, Fred, Load, Dork, Adolf, and Ted. Business is business. And as we all know, in order to get something done, you got to do something. In order to do something, we got to get to work. So let's get to work. Thank you for taking the meeting. Petey, you did a bang-up job. I'm putting you in charge of Pittsburgh. I know it's perfect, Peter. That's why I picked Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's perfect. Peter, may I call you Pete?
That's Raheem Morris running a staff meeting and talking to the media.
I've never felt better.
That's him. He's Coach Blabbermouth.
I've never felt better about any decision he's made after I hear him explain, even after a day or two to try to explain it.
We'll go back to the lab. Won't let this game lose twice.
Never once. I've never felt like, oh, now I understand, or, okay, that's kind of interesting. Not once. We're going on a year and a half.
You lost to a Cyclops. That's the mythical creature that I brought up. Tua woke up yesterday with his left eye swollen shut, put on a shield, and was damn near perfect. 20 of 26, 205 yards, and 4 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 138.6.
They out-Atlanted us.
Here's a guy that in the previous 2 weeks threw a combined 6 interceptions. Here's a guy that had the 5th lowest passer rating in all of the NFL going into yesterday's action.
They were terrible on both sides of the football until they played you. I told you, if you look at what the Miami Dolphins were going into the game and what they were during that game yesterday, one game yesterday, doesn't mean they're going to be better. And I will give them credit. They didn't roll over and die like a dog, but the Atlanta Falcons didn't give them any reason to. Like, there was never a moment where you threw them down a flight of steps to see how they react, which is even worse because given an opportunity, wink, wink, in your home building to, sort of take the stench of last week off against the right opponent, wink, wink, the right opponent, you didn't do anything. You didn't force anything. And look, you want to play the Cyclops game? I can play Nick Fury. I can be, he's a pirate of the Caribbean. That's who beat you yesterday.
I think it's Caribbean.
It doesn't matter. I'll go a step further. They won the Culottes Bowl. Oh, okay.
The short shorts, that's what you say Mike McDaniel wears.
So does Raheem Morris. They both wear capris. Culottes is just a funnier word.
It is.
So do you know, am I right about this? Doesn't, during the Michigan-Ohio State game, don't you get the special gold pants?
You get the gold pants, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody won gold capris yesterday, and it wasn't us.
You want to hear Tua talk about his eye? Ooh, my eye!
Probably one of the worst experiences I've had in terms of waking up, and that happens on a game day, right? My eye was swollen shut. Thanks to the medical staff, they ended up helping with antibiotics and whatnot. And so, yeah, I'm just glad I was able to go out there and play.
This can only happen to the Falcons, folks.
That's for sure.
The guy walks in with sunglasses on the day of, wears a visor for the first time, and goes off.
Yeah, in a way that he hadn't gone off in a while. I don't really want to give away anything because I just know somebody down at the building. They cut him. Like Mickey Goldmill cut Rocky's eye. He said, cut me. And
I don't want to do it.
What are you talking about, cut you? It's not a blood thing up there. No, just cut me anyway. He was so ready to play football because he knew it was the Atlanta Falcons with no home field advantage. Speaking of that, did you see that Aaron Rodgers up in Pittsburgh had to go to a silent camp because there were so many Green Bay Packer fans in there?
That happened here. That happened in Pittsburgh, folks. Packer fans packed that stadium, and Aaron Rodgers had to go to a silent count. So it's not just here.
And he lost.
It even happens in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and he lost. I just wanted to, again, it's just a little tidbit, as I like to say, just putting it out there.
You want to hear from Coach McDaniel talking to the team after the game as I pour salt on an open wound?
Damn, did we need this? Did you guys earn it? So let's go get this, take this win 2 and make it win 3 real fast. How about that? Guess what on the Oprah of Game Balls? Everybody's getting
Everybody celebrates at the Falcons' expense. Everybody, just like Carolina did. We're doing the same thing. And we're the worst team in the NFL. This is worse than the Carolina loss. Because Carolina turned out to be a better team, even though they were 0-2 at the time. And I know you say it doesn't matter on the road or at home. Yeah. You lost that game on the road. This team came in and punched you in the face, and you did nothing about it. A 1-6 team became a 2-6 team in dominant fashion. That's why nobody should survive this.
Do you know how bad this is? There were people who were just realizing, probably halfway through, maybe even at the end of the game, who did they beat other than us? Oh, it's the Jets. So there's this sort of mathematical equation of, the Jets were sort of until they just won yesterday, but is that the only game Miami won? Yeah, up until yesterday it was.
The Falcons in the first half ran 17 plays. The Dolphins had 17 points. Roll that around in your head. That seems impossible, but yet that's the reality.
I told you last week, and I am gonna stand on this. If and when you lose this game, what's the justification for him not getting fired today, if not last night? And I gave the only one, well, it's only 7 games in, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And you and I do disagree on this. As old as Arthur is, he's 82 years old, or as beat up as he might be by this and life and everything else that happens, he's led a nice life. I hope he's around for a lot of years to go. I hope he's there when the transfer of power happens, and I think it needs to happen at the end of this season. But it doesn't take anything to say he's fired. That's not about being old and out of it. People have gotten up off their
I didn't say he was out of it. I said he's old and he's tired.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't say you're fired.
I don't think he has the energy to deal with this again.
He doesn't have the stomach for it.
It's the same thing. I guess we're arguing semantics. The problem with me is
Dick
Rich
Van
McKay.
Dyke is 100 years old. He'll get up and he'll do a tap dance and go to the gym today.
Watch me. I got a cane and I'll use it as a prop as I dance. He does that, Dick Van Dyke. Arthur Blank's not doing that, but he is consulting still with Rich McKay. And they could say whatever they want. Rich McKay still has influence over Arthur Blank.
If they would like my help, I'm going to give it to him again. You have to have a public transfer of power. And Arthur has to now say, hey, of course I own the team. And if you're screaming that Arthur needs to sell the team, you don't really understand it. I know it's what you'd like. He doesn't need to sell the team. I don't think he's selling the team. So let's do the thing that's realistic. Have him get up there and say, it's Josh, his son, who you can tell me, he's too young to run an NFL team. What does it take to run an NFL team? Then you put Les Snead or somebody really, 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 really capable with him at the dais, and you go, it's a new day dawning. Rich McKay's nowhere to be found. Arthur's there because he proudly is handing the keys to the city to his son, but send him to ownership school. And I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble. There it is. Get ready for the clip. I don't think it's overly difficult to win a game as a manager on a Tuesday night in June. I also don't think it's overly difficult to own an NFL team. I don't. To own an NFL team doesn't mean anything. I know where you'll find me. I know I'll probably be dressed nattily. I probably have a yacht. What do you do as an owner? You either decide he stays or he goes. This isn't he's too old for this. It's he doesn't have the stomach for it. It doesn't take a lot to be an owner of an NFL team. What you hope is you've hired the right people where you get to go, yeah, this is pretty cool. One of 32 in the world.
Stomach, age, all of the above. However you want to describe it, nothing is going to change. And a lot of people feel this way until that, as you call it, transfer of power occurs.
Publicly.
Because once the transfer of power occurs, Rich McKay goes away. Rich McKay has failed extraordinarily with this franchise. He traded for John Abraham. That's his feather in the cap.
He hired Bobby Petrino. That totally wipes out. In a world of math equations, which I say everything is, if you have numerators and denominators, you bringing in John Abraham is canceled, and you're actually in a deficit because you hired Bobby Petrino.
And they draft Jamal Anderson, and that's when they say, okay, Rich, we're just going to move you around. We're going to move you. You're going to fail up the ladder. And that's what he did. And then he has to handle the stadium and oversee that. And the roof gets screwed up.
That beam, it was just like a half an inch off.
He's attached to that.
If you know, you know.
And then they move him around some more and say, okay, now he's in charge of Atlanta United. How's that going since he took over? Not so good. But yet he's still here. He still shows up. And I go back to the day they fired Arthur Smith. If he wasn't involved, if nobody was leaning on him in day-to-day operations, a consultant, whatever he was, why is he up there at the dais? If he's not involved, what business did he have being up there at the dais instead of Terry Fontenot?
Here's where I'm not overreacting. I'm not overreacting to Sundays anymore. because Sundays to me are an accumulation.
I'll be
of
all
what
right
you
after
do.
today.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying what you do over 365 and then what you do on August 1st, who's in your camp, who makes your team, and then what you do once game one starts. I got 46. How do I actually get them to be better, not worse? I'm not, like the Sunday thing isn't it. This is not, the team needs an overhaul. The organization needs an overhaul. That's where I'm at.
Well, Sunday,
and I said it earlier
Sunday
today.
was the final nail in the coffin. If you weren't convinced of that, then you're never going to be convinced of that after what happened yesterday.
I said I would empty out the tank. No one will ever not know. If it gets brought up again, they lose another game, whatever it might be, my tank is now empty when I say you need an organizational do-over. Arthur Blank needs to say publicly, I'm still owning this team, and I'm really rooting like hell that we get a Super Bowl parade here. But I'm handing the keys over to. Then it's Josh. Then it's the head, the czar of football. And I've just put out Les Snead. I'm just giving an example of somebody that I say, you are now the adult in the room. This is your team. This is your house. This is you make the rules. Please go hire people who understand what our task is. It's to stop being a laughingstock. It's to actually flip this around. Not on social media, not with Rise Up, not with pregame anything. Here we come into the building. And by the way, this is such an aside, and I don't even want to do this. But if anybody around you, the idiot, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this to you, you and Brian Finneran, when I hear you two idiots do the Rise Up thing to each other, I got to tell you, you think it's funny, but it's not, because you're part of the problem.
All right, enough about me.
I'm just telling you.
Now that it bothers you so.
No.
You've stated it publicly.
The point is,
you don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, do
It should
you?
bother you. I'm now pointing out the fact that you are part of the problem. That's all. I'm not saying you're the problem. I'm telling you you're part of the problem. You're buying into what should be dead and buried.
Well, Chris, I want to be a part of the solution, so I'll try to refrain from that moving forward.
Stop with Brian Finneran when you see each other like this is your badge of honor. Why don't you just give one of them, Roman handshakes where you grab each other's forearms as you say rise up every time you see each other.
All I can say is I'll give it some thought.